This CIA document provides a detailed examination of the legislative framework, operational structure, and evolution of cooperatives in Yugoslavia, with a primary focus on the period surrounding World War II and the post-war era. It highlights the resilience of cooperative legislation during the war period, with the 1937 law remaining effective even in occupied territories, albeit with some modifications. Post-war, the 1937 law was reinstated alongside a new fundamental law in 1946, aiming to facilitate the development of cooperatives as voluntary economic organizations. The legislative framework outlines specific procedures for founding cooperatives, membership rules, organizational structures, financial management, and dissolution procedures. Emphasis is placed on cooperatives supporting the state's economic plans, integrating various sectors into the national economy, and providing special protection to small and poor peasants. Various types of cooperatives are categorized based on their activities, including supply, sales, production, credit, health, and farm work cooperatives. Furthermore, the document delves into the relationships between different cooperative entities, the state, and the legal regulations governing their activities. It discusses the hierarchy of cooperative associations, auditing and approval procedures, the role of the state in cooperative affairs, cooperative registers, privileges granted to cooperatives, legal procedures, and the present situation and development of cooperatives post-World War II. Agricultural cooperatives receive special attention, with the government aiming to transform them into active political entities aligned with the People's Front. There is a significant emphasis on state control over cooperatives, with directives issued to ensure they serve the state's economic and political goals. The establishment of farm work cooperatives is highlighted as instrumental in reorganizing agriculture for industrialization. There is some crucial contextual information that is needed to understand why the Yugoslav government implemented these changes. The CIA leaves out this background information and frames Yugoslavia in the most cynical way that they can. Cooperatives have always existed alongside capitalism, but they had always been marginal and a relatively small part of the economy. Cooperatives can also behave in ways that are similar to capitalist businesses. They may hire and exploit workers. They may try to destroy their competitors. They may produce things that are profitable for their own business, but not necessarily beneficial to society as a whole. The business may be internally democratic and social within its own members, but then behave in antisocial and undemocratic ways when interacting with the rest of society. If a socialist government is to integrate worker self-management into their economy, they must find ways to address these problems. This CIA document does not consider these problems and assumes by default that some level of centralization is necessarily tyrannical and oppressive, without providing any explanation or analysis for why they think that. Socialism has a form of representative democracy, and in all such democracies there will be a small minority of the population who are elected to make decisions on behalf of the whole society. One of the reasons for this is because it is chaotic, having a massive assembly of millions of people. The question is not whether or not a small group of people are making decisions for others. The issue is how well do they represent people. Are they generally doing what the masses want? Are they acting in the best interests of the whole population, or just their own interests? Frequently throughout the Central Intelligence Agency archives you will hear them acknowledge that socialist governments pursue economic policies that are beneficial to the population, such as reducing the cost of living, creating a more fair and equitable wealth distribution, growing people's wages, making it easier to find a job, increasing the life expectancy and education of the masses, etc. Despite this, the intelligence agency also insists that these same governments are tyrannical and oppressive. Is this actually the case, or are they just self-victimizing? Perhaps socialist governments are authoritarian from the perspective of the bourgeoisie, because they diminish the freedom of the capitalists to exploit and dominate working-class people. If each individual cooperative is not consulting and discussing with higher-level representative organs of society, their ability to interact with society in a social manner is impaired because they don't receive information about the wants and needs of the rest of the population, and they cannot share resources or technology. The society cannot distribute the wealth of society in a fair and meritocratic way if there is no unified system for monitoring these things. In socialism, there is supposed to be two-way communication between individual organizations and the centralized planning system so that people can make informed collective decisions about what to produce based on the levels of supply and demand and the availability of resources and workers to meet that demand. Please comment your thoughts below. We would love to have a conversation about this with you. If you continue to follow this channel and learn what more of these declassified documents say about Yugoslavia, it will become increasingly clear that their Communist Party was sincere in their intention to build a genuinely humanistic, democratic and socialistic society, and they were fairly successful. Stay tuned for more documents.